Wake up, scroll, plan, get distracted, sleep, repeat. That is the tale of 90% of the population. You confuse awareness with progress. You know everything and still do nothing. It's not the loop that is trapping you, it's you who is getting trapped into it. Now, you have two options. Number one, continue. You live the same life till the day you die. You accomplish nothing great, nothing significant, and overall live a very boring life. Along with the fact that your quality of life is going to be deteriorating over time because you are keeping the same bad habits for the rest of your life. The habits that you do as a teenager are going to reflect on the habits that you develop when you are an adult. And when you are in your 20s, the habits you form are going to reflect the habits you will form in your 30s, and so on and so forth till the day you take your last breath. Or, if you are self improvement minded, second option, you realize a simple fact. If you do these habits, if there are millions, if not billions, of people who do these habits, that means it is very easy to beat everyone. I don't know whether you understand or not, and I hope you really do. Beating most people is very damn easy. Like, most people live a life like subhumans. They eat bad food knowing it is bad. They do bad habits knowing it is bad. They do the habits, they do the behaviors, and they basically live in a way which is equivalent to self destruction. It's like killing yourself, but on a slow burn. They will not die in one day, but they will definitely die earlier, both mentally and physically. And so, you have to be opportunistic. You have to see this world as an opportunity because the bar is very low. And to get into at least the top 10% of human beings who have ever existed, it is very easy. The reason being resources available online, and also the fact that your actions have to just meet a minimal viable standard. And after that, you are on your rocket to become the top 10 of humanity has ever seen. Top 10%, not the top 10, because that is going to take a lot of work. So basically, what you have is two options. And if you have ever read the poem Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, you know what you should take. If you have stuck till around here, I definitely know you are going to take path B. So let's get you on to the path B and give you the map. At first, we need to address something. Why the hell can't you break out of this loop? And for this, I have to introduce you to a guy called Pavlov. So Pavlov was the scientist who basically did an experiment where every time he gave the food to his dog, he rang a bell, and the bell sound began to correlate with the dog getting his food. Now, what happened is, after years of this conditioning, when he rang the bell, the dog's mouth began to produce saliva. It began to salivate because it thought that it will receive food, even though it did not. But every time he heard the sound of the bell, he thought that, alright, this is bell. Bell equals food. Food equals I will get food right now. Alright, I should produce saliva in my mouth. And so that behavior is called conditioning in psychology. Now, what does conditioning mean? Conditioning means basically you are taking a stimulus or stimuli and you are reacting in a certain way to that stimuli or stimulus, which basically means anything that is a habit, whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, it is conditioning. For example, if you have a habit of working out at 6 p.m. each and every day, then you are conditioning yourself to think that, alright, if clock equal to 6 p.m., then me equal to workout. It's like monkey brain. So what you have done is train your brain for dopamines, and especially cheap dopamine. The difference between cheap and premium dopamine is that cheap dopamine is easy to get. Duh, it's cheap. It can be gained from watching content, it can be gained from eating harmful foods like chocolates and ice creams and all of that. Whereas the premium dopamine, as I like to call them, can be earned only if you do hard tasks. And the reason is because humans were meant to do hard tasks. Imagine the day where you did a lot of studying, a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, and you shall truly remember that, alright, at the end of the day, I was like, wow, it took everything out of me, but it felt something good. You should have felt this feeling. And if you have not, it is a truly magical feeling to feel. And the reason is because after you have accomplished something, you feel like you're aligned to a greater purpose, even though it's not that kind of a high task. For example, if you're studying for 4 or 6 hours a day, after that you complete all the maths question, all the physics question, all the chemistry questions, you will feel like you have unlocked a different plane of existence, and you will feel elevated because you think you have aligned yourself to a higher purpose. Even though that studying might not be the purpose of your life, but you will still feel aligned to some kind of purpose, and so you will feel like you have accomplished something today. You have made yourself proud. But the premium dopamine is costly, and your brain does not want to do that tug of war between dopamine and the currency. So it chooses cheap dopamine because it's easy to get. And the biggest factor in all of this cheap dopamine trade is where the trade is happening, which is, drum rolls, your environment. The more you make your environment cheap dopamine friendly, the more you will get cheap dopamine. The more you go into a random market with no premium shops, no certified shops, the more garbage you will get. Now, definitely, we can argue about the premiumness of brands and their prices rising up and all of that inflation in a later video, because that is going into geopolitics. But just stick with me. Basically, what I am saying is, if you go to a cheap place, you will get cheap treatment. If you go to a premium place, you will get premium treatment, even if that's placebo. Now, what you have to understand is you have to engineer your surroundings to reflect that you want premium dopamine. If you have your PC there, I have my PC here. If you have two tabs open in the browser, of one of YouTube, one of Instagram, and one of Reels, and one of Snapchat or whatever, if you have your phone all time in your hand, if you have the notifications enabled, like, who the hell even have notification enabled nowadays? It's honestly, for me, it's directly a turn off. Like, I'm not even dating, but it's like a turn off for anyone, for males, females, whatever. It's like a turn off that their phone is ringing constantly, and suddenly a thing is coming and they are directly hooked onto it. The dot is appearing on the top of an app and they are just directly hooked onto clicking on that app. Because I genuinely have all the notifications turned off, and the notifications I do have turned on are of reminders, alarms, to-do lists, etc. I have engineered my surroundings to reflect that I want premium dopamine only, even if it's costly. The cost being how much you work. Cheap is like no work, premium is like high work. I want premium even though I have to do high work, because premium is better. So, what do? You have to at first address the biggest problem, the digital distraction dealer, the triple D or the D cube. You have to remove carefully each and every source, and I genuinely mean it, each and every source of cheap dopamine. And trust you me, you are thinking of a habit right now that you know is cheap dopamine, but you don't want to remove. You have to start by removing that one. For me, it was the game called Clash of Clans. The OG people remember it definitely. The modern people definitely don't remember it because they have just all seen mewing and all. But that part, I used to play it for 6 or 7 years. I had 3, 4, 5 accounts running multiple friends' account, my personal 2 accounts, and it was a whole lot of mess. Yeah, sure, I thought I enjoyed it, but it's like it took so much brain power out of me. And the reason being, once you have a source of cheap dopamine, you will not only get affected when you have cheap dopamine in front of you. Hell no. And trust you me, remember it, write it down somewhere, that if you have a source of cheap dopamine, you will think about it each and every day, each and every waking moment. The problem I had with COC is like, I used to think about it 24/7. Even if I am concentrating on my class, on my studies, on my self-studies, on my, I don't know, even bath, even taking a bath, I am thinking of strategizing of when to attack, what army to use, which builder to put where, how much time is left for the upgrade. It was all occupying my brain power. Cheap dopamines occupy your brain power by a large margin. You have to cut them out. You can't win a direct head-to-head battle with your own brain. You have to make an detour and clean your environment first. And then and only then can you win the battle. At first, you have to engineer your surroundings so that you can engineer your brain. Don't let that happen to you what happened with me and COC. Even to this day, I have quit COC for over a year and a half. Even to this day, sometimes I randomly think about some random task. Like, I will be genuinely going throughout my day, and it happens almost every 1 in 3 days, 1 in 4 days, that I randomly say, oh, alright, I'm in town hall 14 right now. I just randomly say it. I remembered that I am in town level 15 right now, not 14. See, I still remember the shit. That just means it has still some ongoing background processes in my brain, which means I have been absorbed to the core by this habit. Even though I have left it for 1.5 years, the impact of 7 years of playing has definitely impacted me in such a way that I still have some subconscious processes going about it, even though I do not play it right now. And so, you have to understand that you will never be able to quit it all at once. You have to slowly quit it, but what you have to understand is you have to quit it. That is the main thing. You have to quit it. You have to not think about it, and if the thoughts come, you have to ignore them. You don't need any book, you don't need any 12-step process, you don't need anything. What you have to do is just follow that. Quit, don't think, ignore. Done. There is nothing else that you need in order to quit a habit. Design systems that force wins, because motivation is never going to save you. And with that, start if you haven't already.